Hello and welcome to the Inspiring Life School podcast. This is your host, Frances Vidakovic, and on this podcast, I'll be sharing with you the most valuable strategies to live your one wildly beautiful and most precious life. Because this is it, my friend. In case you haven't guessed, when it comes to life, there's no rewind or pause button that exists. They say that the way that you spend your days is the way that you spend your life. So my one and only goal here is to help you stop wasting your time, stop holding yourself back in life, stop experiencing non-stop negative mind chatter, stop just dreaming without doing, and start living life fearlessly instead, with more purpose, focus, and intention. I sincerely want you to live life in a way that when you come to the end of it, you know deep down in your heart that you 100% gave it your all, flaws and all. This podcast is not about doing life perfectly. Instead, it is about experiencing and living life with more clarity and courage and truly appreciating this precious adventure that we are so blessed to be on. So if you're with me here today, it's time to stop spinning in circles, get off the hamster wheel for good, put your hands back on the steering wheel of your life, and finally start living life in a way that you won't later regret. With that being said, let's dive on in. Hello, my friend, and welcome to the Inspiring Life School podcast. I am your host, Frances Vidakovic, and this episode today is going to be so golden, so valuable, that I had no idea how to title it other than to call it Becoming Her. Let's step into her shoes. Now, I'm going to make it really clear what I mean as we get into this episode, and I promise you, in order to get into the spirit of this episode, you will need to be open to doing things a little bit different, doing something new, being open to having a little bit of fun, and coming along with me for the ride. So the reason that I'm even recording this episode, it's come from me sitting down to really think about the things that I want to achieve in 2023, both in my business and in my personal life. So I don't know about you, but December is personally my most favorite month of the year. Not only is it summer here in Sydney, Australia, the kids are also on break, so we just get to have this time off. And I love using this time off to really reflect on the year that has just passed, on all the wins and the lessons I've learned. And I love looking back at my journal just to see how far I've come over the last 365 days. So just to give you a little behind the scenes look at my business review, my 2022 list of accomplishments was pretty long, even though I have to say, I was convinced before doing this reflection that nothing new would happen, that I hadn't achieved anything at all this year, that the year just whizzed on past. And yet, when I'm serious, when I sat down and I discovered all the things that had actually taken place this year that I had completely forgotten all about, my mind was completely blown, because it did come back to me. This year, I streamlined my business down to one main focus, inspiringmomlife.com. I wrote a new book called When Your Worst Enemy Is You, How to Finally Get Out of Your Own Way, which I think is my best book ever, and I've written so many. I joined 2 high-end coaching programs. I created and offered for the first time in years in my business my own private one-on-one coaching program called the Dreaming to Doing Coaching Experience. And when it came to selling my digital courses, I served more than 1,000 students this year. I created 2 new courses. The first was Let Your Biz Be Easy, and the second one was Take Back Your Time, which is my signature course that teaches you how to gain back 5 hours every single week to spend on you and your goals. And no matter how busy you are, I also completely streamlined my Inspiring Life School Teachable School store. So I either retired or bundled up so many of my courses. So now that I've just got my coaching and 10 core offers, I sold off and retired a few extra websites that I used to own. I created so many amazing workshops, including the Who Before How workshop and the 3-day reinvention formula workshop. I absolutely loved that one. And there were heaps more. There was also Change the Way That You Think About Your Kids, and it's only too late if you never try. I also got more comfortable on camera, which is such a surprise to me. I'm a total introvert. And even though I've gotten better with the podcast and feeling really comfortable whenever you stick a microphone in front of me, that definitely wasn't the case when it came to speaking on camera at the beginning of the year. And now it does not faze me at all, I think. And then there is the growth that I had and experienced in my personal life. And once again, if you ask me, what happened this year? I really couldn't recall anything that was totally life-changing. But of course, lots of amazing things had happened. There were so many changes that I made happen. Yes, I made them happen financially and health-wise. And plus within my family, we also welcomed a new niece and a great niece into our family. I've been totally sugar-free since September. I've been fitter and healthier this year than I have in years. My daughter graduated from high school and she's off to university next year. I also rediscovered Stoicism in my life, which I absolutely love. I love that school of philosophy. But of course, my list, it wasn't just all rainbows and butterflies and daisies. For 4 months this year, I entered a season in my life that was so hard. It was really hard, and I knew when it was happening how hard it was. My father-in-law, so we've had my kids' grandparents have always lived with us, I think, for the last 12 years. We've got a granny flat behind our home. And so when my father-in-law, I think he fell ill back in May, And he was like in and out of hospitals and nursing homes like consistently for 4 months, and he ended up passing away at the end of August. And during those months, like I really felt like I had to press a pause button on so many other things in my life so that we could be there for him every day. I chose to make this a priority for me to be there for him. And even though it was like hard when I was going through those months, reflecting on it like now, months later, I'm so proud of the way, and I love the way that I showed up during those difficult months. One of the positive things to come out of those darker days is knowing that I always made it super clear to not just my father-in-law, but to other people who have passed this year, how much I appreciated them. I did not have any regrets about the way that I showed up and how often I showed up. Like they knew that I loved them and that I was always there for them. Which brings me to today's lesson, which is all about becoming her and stepping into the shoes of the person you really want to be. Showing up in life in a way that you love, which is something that I actually teach you to do inside my signature course, Your Invisible Crown. And if you've followed me for a while, then you know that this is a core part of the foundation that I teach to you, the who before how concept. It's about thinking less about what you want or need to do, like the doing in life, and more about who do you need to be, who do you need to become when you are doing these actions. So one of my most popular PDFs is all about stepping into your future self now, because that is the way that you achieve your goals in life, like by becoming this version of you, the most successful version of you, showing up as her today without doubting yourself or questioning your ability. This version of you gets to work at making things happen. And the way that you become her is by thinking like her, feeling like her, and showing up like her, dressing up like her in this moment right now today, as opposed to, in one day in the far distant future. So can you imagine what the best version of you would be thinking right now? It's probably thoughts like, I've got this, nothing can stop me. Everything I touch turns to gold. And if something I try doesn't work, it doesn't matter, because I'm just going to keep on trying, and I'm never going to give up, because I'm not a person who gives up. I will think about what I can do differently, okay, about what's working, what's not working. I'm someone who figures things out. And I ask myself, how can I be part of a solution rather than the problem? How can I stay motivated even when life is throwing me a million curveballs? What is my next right step? What do I need to do every single day to stay in full belief? I need to always believe in myself. And what can I say to myself when the doubt begins to creep in? What do I need to remove from my life? What do I need to say no to? What do I need to try that I've never tried before? And this, my friend, is what I want to be thinking more about next year. As I head into the new year, I want to be thinking more about who I want to become, who I need to be, and how I need to show up in all the different areas of my life to achieve the goals that I want to achieve. Because trust me, I know from personal experience that it's one thing to come up with, a list of great goals for 2023, and yet another thing to be the person who makes those goals happen. Because anyone can set lofty goals, but guess what? If you don't believe that you have what it takes to make them happen, there's a very good chance that you won't make them happen. And that is our work to do. And that's not to say that you shouldn't ever set goals for the year. I believe absolutely that we should be dreaming up exciting things for our futures, all the things that we want to try and achieve, and hopefully big stretchy goals that take us outside our comfort zone. I know that I'm personally dreaming up all these wonderful things about my own future. I'm excited by that. But I also know that it isn't enough to scribble down a dream or goal onto paper or onto the whiteboard like I do and just stop there. The dream or the goal is just the first step, and everything that follows will depend on how you are showing up while you are taking your actions. Let me repeat that for you one more time. Your results are going to be not just on the actions, okay, but how you show up while you are taking your action. Now, I have so many exciting things planned for you in 2023 to help you dive deeper into this work. But the one big takeaway that I want you to walk away after listening to this particular episode is this idea of becoming her, becoming the person that you dream of being today, by showing up in the way that she would, with her family, with her friends, with her work, with the world around her. And this is how we grow in life. And that's a reason that we set goals in the first place, to help us grow and evolve, to help us discover who we are deep down in our core, and to bring that version of us out into the world. I mean, chasing goals is great and fun, but the real reason we do that, the real reason we chase our goals, is so that we can grow, so that we can explore our potential, and so that we can learn more about ourselves. And I love that I continue to do that year after year after year. But you may be wondering, well, who is this person that I need to become to grow in life and achieve the results that I want? Well, I want you to always keep this phrase in your mind. Who before how. So what does this who look like? I mean, I have no idea what he or she looks like, but it's just you, but better version of you. This is where you have to put your imagination like the cap on, the detective cap, and just answer the question. Ask your brain these questions. What thoughts would you be thinking if you're achieving your goals? How would you speak? How would you dress? How would you carry yourself? How would you interact with others if you were that version of yourself achieving your goals? This is something that you need to give some thought on your own before you even set off to achieve your goal, and really stop and think about these questions. And rather than saying you don't know, just assume you do know. Like, assume you've got the answer. What would be your best guess? And you might work this out just by practicing showing up in the world every day in a way that you love. It's like the saying, fake it until you make it. You wake up each day with the intention of practicing being that person that you need to be to achieve those goals. You practice thinking those thoughts of success, practice feeling those feelings of confidence and courage in advance, knowing that they're ultimately going to impact the way that you take action and, of course, the results that you get in life. And what I know to be true is that to become this version of you, to become her, you will need to be willing to fail and see your failures as a learning opportunity. You will need to be willing to keep on going and never give up, even when times are tough. You will need to be willing to experiment and step outside your comfort zone. You will need to be willing to feel uncomfortable, plus tap into your courage, even when you're feeling super scared and knowing that the fear may never go away. I know that fear's always around for me whenever I'm doing the scary stuff, and it's okay. You need to be willing to do whatever it takes to become her. Becoming her means willing to hold tight to faith, even when faith wavers. And by faith, I mean in this instance, just having complete trust in something, in yourself, even when evidence points sometimes to the contrary. You believe you can do it anyway, even if no one else thinks that you can. It's okay. You have your own back. You just need to believe that you can succeed. Even if no one else agrees, you believe that it can be hard, and it's okay because you can do the hard stuff, my friend. And I want you to take a moment to think about becoming this version of you in 2023. This can be your one and only goal if you like. And if you think that you need help with this, make sure to check out my signature course, Your Invisible Crown. It's going to show you exactly how to show up as the best version of yourself each day, every day. But in the new year, I'm going to be releasing even more resources to help you, to support you on this journey to becoming her, which is really about bringing to surface this version of yourself that you were born to be. Someone who is confident, someone who's courageous, someone who doesn't have all the thought drama, the negative mind chatter, the overwhelm, the stress, the doubt, and unnecessary old baggage that we sometimes lug around with us for years wherever we go. It is time to put that baggage down, my friend, okay? Let it go, because I promise you will feel so much lighter entering the new year without carrying all that heaviness, unnecessary heaviness, because no one is forcing you to carry it anymore. You can put it down, let it go. Give yourself a break and get to work at becoming her. So with that being said, if you want to continue to create change and new results in 2023, make sure to visit me every single week here on the Inspiring Life School podcast. As always, you know I love and appreciate you all, and please know it isn't enough to just go out there and dream and dream and dream without actually taking action. Okay, action, experimenting, and making things happen. We do this by becoming her. Now remember, every word, every action that you take today is part of a story that you are writing, the story of your life. And you, my friend, get to hold that pen. You're writing that story today. So go ahead and make it a great one. Until next time, know that I love you all, and take care until the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Inspiring Life School podcast. I really appreciate you allowing me to be a part of your life. If you'd love to stay in touch, please know that you can always find me on Instagram at Vidakovic, or you can visit my website, inspiringmumlife.com, where you can sign up and receive so many amazing freebies that I've created just for you to help you implement all my teachings into practice. There you'll also find all my online courses, resources and programs that I've created to help you up-level your life in seriously the simplest way possible, so that you can ultimately create for yourself a life that feels simpler, lighter, and allows you to show up in a way that you love as your best and most authentic version of yourself. Now remember, this podcast is all about not just dreaming but also doing, because to create true sustainable change in your life, you need to be willing to do things differently. And that's what I'm here to support you to do every single step along the way, so that you too can begin to live your one wild and precious life with less stress, less overwhelm, less drama, and instead with zero regrets. Finally, if this podcast resonates with you at all and you appreciate the content, I would absolutely love for you to show your support by leaving me a review on Apple Podcasts. I'm on a mission to help more people wake up to the preciousness of life and to help them live their days with more intention and purpose, and your review will help make this goal of mine possible. Well, once again, thank you so much. I have loved spending this time with you, and I look forward to connecting with you again. I am Vidakovic, and you have been listening to the Inspiring Life School podcast.